Welcome back. Today we are traveling very, very far afield. We're heading all the way to Hamilton, not Missouri, but Ontario in Canada to meet one of the most wonderful shop owners I've ever been able to meet, Ginette Pereira. Ginette, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Keeping
How are you
busy.
coping in Canada? How are things going?
We have a lockdown, so we're locked down until May 5th, but there's supposed to be more information today, so we'll see.
Strange times, isn't it?
It is.
Are you holding up okay with everything?
Yep, we're doing fine. We're getting a lot of long arm jobs and stuff like that. We customers can't come in the shop, but they can stand at the door and I can throw them their quilts. That's all I can do. I feel like I gave a customer a quilt this morning and I felt like I was doing a drug deal because she was giving me money and I was giving her something. So it felt like a drug deal. But yeah, she laughed.
Oh, I love it. That's actually because it's in this country we call it click and collect. So you like leave it on a door handle.
I never heard of that before. Okay, cute.
Can you see why I fell in love with Ginette? She's amazing. Now, Annette, tell us a little bit about your shop. Where are you based?
So we're based now. We used to be based in Smithville, Ontario. We moved here in November the 5th in Hamilton, Ontario. We're on the main drag now compared to out in the country where hardly nobody comes around. Now we have a great location and great response from, we're the only quilt shop in Hamilton now. So there's one in Ancaster, not too far, and then there's St. Catharines. So I'm in the middle.
And I've been to both of those shops and I've been to yours, but I haven't been to your new place. It looks
Mm.
amazing. You and Ron is your husband, who you work
Yeah.
very closely with in the business. The two of you have very kindly done us a little video of a tour of your shop, which I'm going to plop in now.
Hi, welcome to my shop. It's called You Quilt It, and I'm from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and my name is Ginette Pereira. And welcome to our Notions Nook. So I carry a variety of patterns and notions, rulers, and we're even starting to make some cups for sale. And this is where I do all of my creation, all my quilting. And I have a serger if I want to do some trimming. And this quilt is called the Jameson Star quilt, and it was a class that we did a few years ago back. And I also carry some books. I love Missouri Star, so we carry most of her books, and I have some other books that I carry too. And this is my long arm room. Hi, this is my long arm room. This is where I do most of my long arming. And we also rent it to customers who want to learn how to do their own quilts, and that way they get the experience of them doing it. On the back wall there is John's quilt, Glasgow Christmas. The colorful one here is the Power of 9 quilt, and the next quilt is John's Summer Breeze. And then I carry some Wonderfill threads. I got wide backings that I also carry. We also cut our own fat quarters up, and we have a lot of panels that I have throughout the store. And then we have a variety of fabrics that we are, and I have some new fabrics in called My Canada, and then these are the samples of my quilts in the shop. So this is the tour of my little shop. It's maybe small, but it's got a lot of love put into it. If you're ever in the neighborhood, please drop by to have coffee, chit chat. Check out my website at youquilted.com. Check out my Facebook page. I just want to thank John for hosting the podcast. This was exciting to do. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye from You Quilt It.
Wow, Ginette, you have worked so hard. That looks amazing. Look how fantastic your shop is looking.
Thank you. We've changed it quite a bit again. In the middle of the night, I get this inspiration to change the shop, and I've done it a few times since we've been here. So we like it. We're not moving. We're not changing. We're here for 5 years, so we're good.
Oh, fantastic. And Ron obviously helps you do all of that moving and lifting.
Of course he does.
You must
And my
wake up in
dog.
the morning going, oh goodness, I hope she hasn't changed her mind again today.
No, not today.
So Jeanette, how long have you run the quilt shop for?
So the shop's been around for about 15, 16 years. I'm the new owner of the last 5 years, going on 6. I've quilted for about 16 years, long armed for 10 years. So yeah.
So how did you start quilting?
Ron bought me a nice, beautiful machine, and then I started quilting a little bit till I got to the point that when Ron and I got married, I moved into his house and there was a basement full of junk. We cleared all the junk out and he built, and he built me a sewing room.
How fabulous.
Yes.
And that was what, how long have you two been married now?
Going on 15 years this May.
Oh, congratulations. Were you just checking you got that right?
It's usually the other way around.
And so what got you started in quilting then?
I used to be a personal support worker, going back 10 years. And I met a friend that was working in the group home that we were working at, and she was quilting and she showed me all her quilts. So I got to know her better, and then she was showing me simple quilts to do. And then I joined her guild, the Hamilton Guild, and from there it boomed. I've got my first quilt I've ever made here.
Oh, I really want to see that.
I didn't quilt it, another person quilted it. Ta-da!
Oh, that's lovely.
It's just a scrappy quilt that we learned. So this is just a sample, a small sample quilt. And then I had someone quilt it for me.
Oh, that's lovely.
And then when I how I started long arming was when I got a few quilts back from a quilter, it had musty and smoke smell. And then Ron bought me a mid-arm.
So what's the difference between a mid-arm and a long arm?
So a mid-arm, it's just a beginner quilt. You can use a 9-inch throat on it. You can use any high-speed sewing machine, like the Husqvarna Mega Quilter. That's what I bought with a frame, and it had a stitch regulator. It was really nice for a while until Ron and I went to Niagara Falls, and we saw another machine, and that's when we bought the Innova. So we've had the Innova for 7 years now.
And how many long arms have you got now?
I've got 2.
So you've been quilting then, customer quilts, since you've owned the shop?
Oh yeah, and I've done lots.
And do you enjoy it?
Oh my gosh, that's the best time. I put my music on. I have a little room there, a long arm. The doorbell goes off. I answer the door.
How wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because you do something quite unique, especially for this country. You rent your long arm out to people to quilt their own quilts.
Yes, we do. So how the shop came to You Quilt It, she used to do, you would come in and you would quilt your own quilts. So we kept that. So I brought my Innova from home to the shop, and then I teach people how to use the machine, and then from there they come back and they use the machine. They love it because they get the sense of they've quilted all their own quilts.
But that is a very special part of it, is being able to have a quilt that you've done. So you being able to do that, that's going to change so many people's perspectives of quilting.
Since my Fridays and Saturdays for the last 2 months have been booked. But since the COVID this month being locked down, I had to call them and say we have to rebook for next month. Hopefully we're open next month. We're not sure yet.
But you also, I can see a glorious amount of fabrics behind you as well. And in that gorgeous video you've done for us, you've got quite a lot of fabric.
Yes, I'm getting more in. It's been a little tough getting fabrics in because of the COVID and stuff, but we're doing good. My shelves are getting full to the point that I'm thinking I may need a bigger shop.
I love it.
I already told Ron if there's a spot beside us, it's half a shop or a quarter of a shop. If she decides to leave, I might have to take that one. Put the long arms in there.
Be rude not to.
Yeah, it absolutely
Have you
fine.
got a wall you can knock through? You get rod out.
I have a door. I can actually put a doorway in. We already knocked one wall down. He didn't, the property manager didn't say nothing. Says, you're here for 5 years, do what you want. So that's what we've done.
How
We knocked the wall.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So this move really has been the making of you.
Oh, it's way better. I mean, I'm getting people calling me. It says, oh my God, there's a quilt shop in Hamilton now. I actually had a husband last week, drove in, opened up the door, says, my wife's going to love you. You're just down the street from me now. So he took my card and brought it to his wife. And that's what I'm getting quite a bit lately is people stop and go,
How wonderful.
thanks.
Are you able to run classes and things, or are you online, or how are you doing it?
So right now we can't have no classes. No one's allowed in the shop. Um, so we do curbside pickup. So if someone calls and says, do you have this and this? I'll say yes or no, and they come to the door. On Monday, I was in the shop and a customer came in and says, can you match a color to this quilt? I says, of course I can. So I brought 3 or 4 bolts to the window so she can look at it. And I said to her, goes, you know what this looks like? Remember back in the day when you had babies and you had to look through the window to see you? I goes, oh my God. I goes, this is like having a baby. Do you want the blue baby or do you want the red baby? So
That is so funny. And it's true because we're just adapting.
yeah, online. So I'm going to start doing Zoom classes. I bought a new camera that would help so I don't have to have Ron here. So we're going to start small, maybe some UFO Zoom classes and sit and sews.
Well, I found one thing that's worked really well is because what we're missing the most is being around each other and seeing each other. What's worked very well for us is just doing retreats where people can come and just sit and talk of an evening, like we used to do when we were able to meet in halls and village halls and things. That's worked very well for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. So we'll try it. I've noticed a lot of other shops doing it. So okay, I'll start doing it, but I'm the only person in the shop, so it's a little hard to do it by myself.
Just you on your own.
Just me by myself. My husband comes on Saturdays to help me, or when he's on holidays, he's with me.
Whenever he gets told what to do, he's there.
Somewhat, but he doesn't get told too much what to do.
Really?
He just has to. Oh, he just makes a lot of labels for me because I don't know how to use the labeler. Ron, make some more labels, or get coffee and tea.
Well, you've got my favorite Tim Hortons there. What is in it?
Just steep tea.
Oh, I'm a French vanilla latte myself. So do you still belong to the Hamilton Guild?
No, I don't belong to any guild. I belong to one. It's Hagersville that I go on Monday night. It's just a smaller group. I like the smaller groups. The smaller groups are nicer.
See, I struggled trying to do groups and things because certainly in an evening, if I want to do sewing for myself, I want to do it on my own because I spend so much time with people and with customers, which I love. But in my downtime, it's nice to just sit and do some mindful sewing on your own. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I'm here during the day since the lockdown. Since we can't have people in the shop, I still come on my regular hours and I quilt. I make quilts for the shop. When the new fabrics come in, I try to get the samples out as soon as I can. So like this week I've done 3 quilts of the new fabrics that came in. Now I have to quilt them and hang them up.
How amazing.
Yeah.
And do you change your quilts in the shop quite often?
The last few months, no, but now with I have the new lines of fabrics come in, they're finally getting new lines in, I will be.
How brilliant.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, you're the only person in Canada who'll be stocking my quilts patterns, which I'm very proud of.
Yes, when you see the video, there's 2 of them that I have up hanging out.
I know, they're beautiful. You worked so hard on those. I'll never forget you having finished that Christmas one and having popped 3 or 4 blocks in the wrong corners. And I felt awful telling you.
There is 9.
9! Oh my
There's
goodness.
9. And a few of them were just upside down. I didn't see a problem, but that's okay. I did it. I did it. No problem.
These picky designers, you
Oh
know.
my word. I can say no one's going to see them. What? Who cares? And if it's 10 feet apart, that rule is, when it's 10 feet apart, you're not going to see a boo boo.
What's the
But
10 feet apart rule? I've never heard that.
you've never heard? It's called the quilting police. There's no quilting police, and if you see him, if you can't see a mistake from 10 feet away, don't worry about it. No one's going
Oh,
to
I
look.
like that. But
Yeah,
I
no,
do dispute the fact that there are quilting police.
no, there's not. Not in this house. Not in my shop, except for you, but not in my shop.
Did you say except for you?
You're the one that's picky. I'm not picky. I have some customers who are very picky, and everything has to be perfect. I'm not that type of quilter. I'm relaxed. I have fun. If I make a mistake and I recognize it, I will take it apart. There's one quilt I made for the quilt shop. When I first bought the shop, I was so excited about making a quilt. I took my time, I quilted it, hung it up on the wall, and there's a mistake. I was floored. I don't normally make mistakes with my quilts, and if I do, I catch it. But this was fully quilted, hanging on the wall. So what I did is I turned it upside down, and it was a king size quilt, and I left the bottom so no one can see it. So they thought I did it perfect.
What happened to the quilt?
It's on my bed.
And you still don't see the problem.
No.
And that's the thing about it.
You can't see it from 10 feet away. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's just those picky designers in England, hey?
Gosh. Yes. That was, yeah. And then same with the summer breeze one. I could not get that one triangle. It was too small and I cut it wrong. It was my fault. I admit I make mistakes.
It's not about fault or error or blame. It's about whether it's finished and you love it. And now, do you love it?
Yes, it's hanging up there. People are looking at it and say, "Oh, I love that quilt." Yeah, that's a friend from England. His quilts. We're gonna get his patterns soon. So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So what's your favorite thing about running a quilt shop?
My customers. When my customers come in and they need a little bit of help, and they say, "Okay, how much do I owe you?" I goes, "Nothing." "What do you mean nothing? You helped me here for 2 hours." I goes, "As long as you're here, as long as you're learning, I'm okay." I love my customers. We can sit down. The front shop has a couch and a chair. You can sit and chit chat. I just love the customers. I have way too much fun.
That's
I'm
brilliant.
always barefooted.
Sorry?
I'm always barefooted. I don't wear shoes in my shop.
Nor do I. Slippers. I've got slippers.
No, I have shoes on now because I had to go outside. But other than that, no.
But it's because you're on the internet. You're being recorded. That's why you got your shoes on.
And I have a sign says if you're not barefoot, you're overdressed. Customer made it for me. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Thanks.
So what's next for you?
Next for me, just trying to get the fabrics in the shop because I know with the COVID and the shipping and all that. I might be. Have you ever heard of Wesley rulers? I might be selling those in the shop. I'm just making some contacts now with the person in the States and see how that goes. Trying to figure out this robotic long arm and just have fun. I'm here for 5 years, maybe 10. Don't tell Ron. But yeah, I just enjoy my life. To me, this is a home away from home. I can stay here all day and it wouldn't feel bad or anything.
Well, you do stay there all day.
Yes. And quilt and long arm and play.
So what are your tips for people just starting out in quilting?
Don't be so serious when you do your first quilt. You're going to make mistakes. That's okay. Your first quilt's your learning one. Then after that, and then when you go to teachers, different teachers, you're going to learn different techniques and you just pick the technique that you like. Yeah, it's just, you don't want to be too serious about making, a lot of mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes. and I've been quilting for almost 16 years now. So you just have fun with it. Yeah.
What has been your biggest mistake in quilting?
That king size quilt. Oh no, when I put my finger through the needle put through my finger. Yeah, that was a bad one.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to tell us that story.
Oh no, I was just straightening it out, straighten the seam out when you baste it, and my finger got caught. Yeah,
So
that
I have a
happened.
story about my dear friend Sylvia who works for me. She did that. And when she got the needle, it went straight into her finger and stayed there and broke off. And she had to get her husband to get the pliers to pull it out because she refused to go to the hospital. And the second time she did it, he was a lot less squeamish about it.
It happens. I mean, I got the needle, a little bit of the needle near the end, and you just pull it off. The worst thing I ever did was when I was cutting fabric, I put a fresh blade in. Yeah, 5 stitches later. Yeah, and I
The
didn't
worst,
feel
yeah, and you don't because it's
it.
so
No,
sharp.
it happens.
Is there anything that you always like to tell new people when they're coming to your shop or starting quilting? Have you got any messages for them?
When customers come to my shop and they say they want to learn how to quilt, I always tell them quilting is an expensive sport. You buy things, it start out it's always more expensive, but once you get hooked on it, you get hooked on it. Because I went from a sewing machine in my husband's, well, now it's our house, um, rec room or family room. Then it moved to downstairs into the family room. And then Ron bought me one long arm. And then he went and bought another long arm. And then when the shop came available, this shop, they called me up. I was there at a sale one day and I said to them, "Oh, Ron wants to open up a quilt shop in 7 years when he retires." And she says, "Oh, okay, we need to talk." Not thinking that she was selling the shop or anything. Maybe, she wanted my help or something. So about a week later, she calls me up and says, "Just to let you know, I was curious to know if you're interested in buying our quilt shop." I says, "What? Quilt shop?" I goes, "I have no clue." So I called Ron. I says, "Ron, you quilted called and asked if we want the quilt shop to buy." And Ron says, "Hell yes." I goes, "Wait a second. Where are we going to get the money? I don't know how to run a shop. I still don't. I'm still making mistakes, but that's okay. I'm getting better." And then that's it. That's how we started the quilt shop. It's all his fault. Don't look at me like that. You know it's your fault. Same with the long arm. Same with the long arm. We went to the when you were in no you went the first time you came to Canada. Did you go to the quilting bee in Font Hill? Okay, so we went to Niagara Falls for the night for the weekend to get away, and we knew she was selling new long arms. So we went there, looked at the long arm, and here's Ron telling Kelly, "We'll be back in 6 months." I said to him in the car, goes, "Where the hell do you think we're gonna get, can I say hell, $20,000 for a long arm?" He goes, "Don't worry, you know us. We always get, when we plan something, we get it." Okay, so he's thinking. The next day he says, "I know how you get the machine tomorrow." I says, "How?" He goes, "You know those RSPs that you've been saving for 10 years? You can cash them in." Done. I had an ex-husband that owed me money, so we're good. So yeah, so that's how he got the long arm. And then when it came to this shop, um, the lease was up at the other shop, and it was either close the shop down, go online, do it from the house. And I drove by here, and I saw the sign saying that the place for lease. I called them that Thursday. We signed the papers Friday, and Ron comes in the shop and says, when we're taking the tour, Ron came in and says, "We'll take it." He goes, "Ron, we don't know how much the rent is. Don't worry, we'll take it." And it's been great. Um,
That's very inspiring. That is
it is.
incredibly inspiring.
It's fun to like my to me this is not a job. To me, this is fun. I come in, I quilt. If I want to quilt, worst thing is put a TV in the shop because I can watch TV. But other than that, I have too much fun. Life is too short. You need to have fun.
And are you getting to make any quilts that you want to be making?
No, I make the samples from the shop. There might be a few at home that I'm working on, but I try to get the quilt shops done at the shop. And then I'm bad for this. When a customer comes in and says, "Oh my God, I love that quilt," I give it to them. I know I'm bad, but I have to stop now because, yeah, I don't have hardly no quilts because I give them away, or I give them to charity when people are doing charity work or fundraising. If they need a quilt, I do that. Yeah, one of my quilts sold for $850. Yeah.
Now, if you sold that in the shop for $850, I think your husband would be happy.
Well, no, it wouldn't sell. They were doing a silent auction, so that's how it kept on going up and up. And yeah, quilts. People don't understand how expensive quilts are. They just think you can buy it at Walmart and that's the same thing you get here, and it's not. I had a customer once come in and says, "Oh, can you make me a quilt?" I goes, "First of all, what size?" And she says, "Queen." And I goes, "Okay, you're looking between $800 to $1,000. What? I'll go to Walmart, buy it for $20. It goes, "That's not a quilt, though. People don't, you know."
So who are your quilting inspirations?
Jenny Doan. I love Jenny Doan. I met her at market. We have a thing every year called Quilt Market. And when I went there with the girl that I bought the shop from, she was showing me the ropes. And the only reason I wanted to go was I wanted to meet Jenny Doan because I know she was going to be there. So I can see it now. It was 2016 when we went to market at Salt Lake City, and it was fabulous. It was overwhelming. Well, it's all just new distributors and selling everything from scissors to long arms and all kinds of stuff, right? But as soon as I saw Jenny Doan walking up to me, I goes, "Oh my God, Jenny Doan, I came from Canada just to meet you." She goes, and her husband says, "Okay, you need to slow down your breathing. You're hyperventilating, right?" And I said to her, goes, "I just bought a quilt shop. I'm so excited to meet you." And she says to me, goes, "There's one thing I want you to do. When customers come in, I always want you to be happy and say hi to your customers." She says that as soon as they come in, they want to feel welcome. And that's what I do every morning. I've always done that anyways, but I'm thinking, I says, "Welcome to my shop. I have fun." I'm still learning the quilters names and stuff like that because I just do what I want. I learn from, YouTube's helped quite a bit. But yeah, I'm go all over the board. So.
Do you have a favorite fabric designer or a particular line of fabric you like?
I have when they first bought the shop, it was strictly Northcott. But now I brought some West Trades fabrics in. I don't know the designers' names. I just know the company that I buy the fabrics from, Northcott, West Trade, Quiltex. Those are distributors. I like a little bit. I really like Wilmington fabrics. Their designs, I like it because everything's together. Yeah, that's all I have.
Do you have a favorite quilt you've ever made?
A favorite quilt I've ever made? It's besides yours. Uh, I knew I had to say it. I like your patterns. Your patterns are nice. They're great. They're easy to follow. I have hardly made any quilts for myself. I made Ron a few. Ron's made one quilt. Ron's a quilter too. We have a habit of doing everything together. Yeah, I don't think I've ever made myself a quilt yet. That's sad. I need to make myself a quilt.
Well, I think if nothing else, I think it's important to recognize that, and then maybe you should.
I think I should. I gotta find me a quilt. It's gotta be pink. Something with pink in it.
Not on my bed.
Did you hear him? Not on this bed. Hey. Okay.
Did Ron just say and not having a pink quilt on our bed?
Yes. I love you, Garfield.
So Ginette, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way of doing that?
So your best way is to go on my Facebook page at You Quilt It. And then I have an email at youquiltit@gmail.com.
Well, Ginette, I cannot thank you enough for joining us this evening. It has been so kind of you. I am so proud to be a tiny part in your journey in this way. Your shop looks amazing. Everything you're doing, I think, is looking brilliant. Keep doing what you're doing. I just can't wait to come and see you again.
I can't wait for you to come and see me at my new shop, and we would have fun.
Can't wait. Listen, you look after yourself. Don't lick anyone.
Oh my God, you and that don't lick anyone. Oh my word. You see that every time you finish that thing. Okay, fine. I won't lick anyone. I won't lick anyone but Ron.
Great to have you, sweetheart. See you soon. Bye.
See you later. Thanks. Bye.